While she was still hooked to and for, Katherine was handed divorce papers and told to sign before the nurse returned. They said it was just insurance, slid the folder onto her hospital blanket, and waited for her to comply while she was medicated. They thought she was too weak to read, and that mistake set everything else in motion. The 4-line tugged. The monitor beeped off rhythm, sharp in the quiet. Paper rustled near her ear. Barbara stood over her, perfume, pastel cardigan, fake daisies trembling in the vase. "It's just insurance paperwork," she said, sliding the folder closer. Eric hovered by the window, his shoulders hunched like he wished he wasn't in the room. "Mom said it's just to protect the house," he mumbled. "From medical debt, you know." Katherine blinked. Her mouth was dry, the anesthesia still heavy in her throat. The pages were crisp, divorce petition, uncontested. The words blurred, then sharpened again under the fluorescent light. She looked at Barbara's hand resting on the folder. The nails were perfect. No tremor. "Go ahead, honey," Barbara said softly. "It's for everyone's good. You'll thank us later." A nurse walked past the open door. Barbara's voice dropped to a whisper. "Quickly, before she comes back." Katherine nodded slowly, as if she understood. Her fingers hovered over the pen, pale and unsteady. The nurse's footsteps faded down the hall. The air smelled like disinfectant and overcooked soup. Barbara leaned closer, perfume sharp now. "You trust me, don't you?" Katherine didn't answer. Her pulse monitor beeped faster. She flipped one page, then another, pretending to read. "So, these go back to the insurance office?" "Exactly," Barbara said. "I'll take care of it myself." Katherine's eyes followed the fine print. Witnessed, authorized, notarized. Each signature line already had a faint copy of Barbara's cursive from older forms. She pressed the folder shut, carefully, like sealing something alive. "I think I should wait until I'm off medication," she said quietly. Barbara's smile didn't move her eyes. "Of course. I'll just leave these here, in case you change your mind." The folder stayed on the blanket when she left. The door clicked. The monitor steadied again. Katherine lay back, staring at the ceiling tiles, and whispered to herself, "I won't forget this." The beeping sounded steady now, almost calm. By the third day, the flowers had slumped, the soup gone sour. But the folder stayed, exactly where Barbara left it, on the counter by the discharge papers. Katherine moved carefully through the apartment, one hand on the gauze under her ribs. Each step tugged at the stitches. The doctor said no lifting. She opened her laptop anyway. The click of the lid broke the silence. Eric was at work. His texts came every few hours. "Mom's just trying to help. Don't stress yourself. I'll sort it out later." Later never came. She opened the folder. Her signature was missing, but Barbara's wasn't. Page after page, authorized representative, power of delegation, medical proxy. All signed, all notarized. Barbara must have brought them to the hospital under the same cover story months earlier. The screen light flickered across her face as she searched public records, bank accounts, titles. Each login still recognized her. Joint owner, secondary signatory, the quiet name on the bottom of every contract. She'd set them up years ago when Eric was sick. Nobody had thought to remove her. Her phone buzzed. "How's recovery?" From her coworker Mark, the legal consultant on the hospital board. She hesitated, then typed, "Can you meet for coffee?" Something small. Legal thing. The cafe was loud, metal chairs scraping tile. Mark looked over her notes, his brow tightening. "Barbara signed these herself, Kate. That means she delegated authority to you. She can't undo that retroactively." She felt her pulse slow. "So I can act as fiduciary?" He nodded. "Completely within your rights. Just be careful how you use it." Outside, the Texas air was hot enough to sting. She walked back to her car, folder pressed against her stomach. Her reflection in the window looked pale, almost translucent. That night, she cleared the kitchen table and laid out every page under the lamp. The notary seals caught the light like coins. She whispered, "You wanted paperwork? Let's do paperwork." Somewhere in the distance, a train horn cut through the quiet. Long, low, final. By Monday morning, the kitchen table looked like an evidence board. Legal pads, printouts, receipts, everything Barbara once controlled now mapped out in neat, patient rows. Katherine worked in silence. The only sound was the soft click of her pen and the occasional hum from the fridge. She'd spent the weekend tracing ownership trails, the business account, the trust deed, The vehicles registered under the family's company name. Every form led to the same signature, Barbara's, naming Katherine as a temporary fiduciary during Eric's hospitalization. The irony almost made her smile. She didn't need to forge anything. All she had to do was follow Barbara's own rules. At noon, she sat in the notary's office, pale but composed. "You again?" the clerk said, half joking, recognizing her from years of medical paperwork. Katherine nodded. "Yeah, just catching up." The notary stamp came down with a sharp clack, that same precise sound Barbara used to love. It used to make Katherine flinch. Now it felt clean, final, like a lock sliding shut. Over the next 2 days, she moved quietly through the system, transferring assets, reassigning trustees, restoring her joint ownership where Barbara had temporarily adjusted it. Every form was documented, every signature witnessed. No lies, no backdoors, just law. Mark double-checked the filings before submission. "This is airtight," he said, flipping through the stack. "You're just restoring original intent. It's technically correction, not retaliation." Katherine looked up. "It's both." That night, she made tea and waited for the email confirmations to roll in: property, accounts, insurance, each one blinking process successfully. The green checkmarks looked almost too ordinary for what they meant. By morning, Barbara's name was gone from every joint title she'd once controlled. Katherine sat back in her chair. The apartment was quiet except for the ticking of the wall clock. Then her phone lit up. "Mom says the account's locked. Did you change something?" She stared at the message for a moment, then typed one word: "No." The cursor blinked. She didn't send it. Outside, thunder rumbled somewhere far off, like a door being shut from a distance. The conference room smelled faintly of coffee and carpet glue. Barbara was already there when Katherine walked in, arms folded tight, voice sharp enough to slice air. Eric sat beside her, eyes darting between them like a man caught in crossfire. The lawyer, a calm middle-aged man in a navy suit, adjusted his glasses. "Let's go over this carefully," he said. "There seems to be confusion about ownership transfers." "Confusion?" Barbara snapped. "She's stolen everything. My name, my house, my..." Katherine set the folder on the table, her hands steady for the first time in weeks. "Your signatures are on every page. Barbara, you authorized me. You just didn't expect I'd read what I was signing." Barbara's jaw tightened. "You manipulated this." "I followed your instructions," Katherine said, calm, steady. Word for word. The lawyer spread the originals on the table. Barbara's own seal gleamed under the light. Neat, proud, undeniable. He turned one toward her. "Mrs. Whitmore, these are your documents, filed during your daughter-in-law's hospital stay. You granted her full authority. It's perfectly legal." Barbara's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Eric shifted in his chair. "Mom, did you really bring divorce papers to the hospital?" Barbara looked at him, a flash of panic breaking through the anger. "I was trying to protect you." "She's..." The lawyer's voice cut through. "These transfers are lawful, traceable, and notarized. There's no fraud here." Silence filled the room, thick and motionless. The only sound was paper sliding across polished wood. Barbara's reflection trembled faintly on the table surface. Katherine reached for her copy, closed the folder, and said, "Then we're done." Eric didn't move. Barbara stayed frozen, staring at her own name printed under every signature line. As Katherine stood, the chair legs scraped softly against the floor, small, final, deliberate. At the door, she paused. "You called it a favor," she said. "I guess it was." No one answered. Outside, the hallway light flickered once, buzzing faintly, before settling back into stillness. The parking lot shimmered with heat when she stepped outside. The meeting had lasted barely 40 minutes, but her legs felt heavy, like she'd run a mile uphill. She didn't look back. The folder sat on the passenger seat, its edges still warm from the sun. The notary seals caught the light, faint gold circles pressed into the paper. She ran her thumb over one. The mark felt deep, irreversible. Traffic hummed beyond the trees. Somewhere, a lawn sprinkler ticked in lazy rhythm. For the first time in weeks, there was no beeping, no clipboard, no instructions. Just air. Eric called once. The phone buzzed on the console, screen lighting up with his name. She let it ring until it stopped. A minute later, a text appeared. I didn't know she'd do that. Katherine watched the message fade. Then she powered the phone off and slid it into the glove box. She drove without music, windows down. The wind caught her hospital wristband, still on her arm, and lifted it slightly. She pulled over, tore it off, and laid it on top of the folder. The white plastic gleamed under the sun, almost like a ribbon, at a red light. She caught her reflection in the rearview mirror. No mascara, no polish, no expression she recognized, just a calm she hadn't felt in years. The light changed. She turned toward the highway, feeling the weight of the folder shift with the car. Barbara would tell people she'd been tricked. Eric would keep quiet until the story softened. But the documents would speak for themselves. Nothing illegal, nothing hidden. Just signatures. Hers, theirs, everyone's. When she reached home, she left the folder on the kitchen counter. The same spot where Barbara had left it weeks earlier. The circle closed without ceremony. She opened the window. The late evening air drifted in, warm and dry. Somewhere down the street, a dog barked twice and fell silent. Katherine leaned against the counter, exhaled, and whispered, almost to no one, "Finally done." The folder clicked shut, slow, final. A thin breeze moved through the open window, lifting the page corner once before it fell flat again. Then, silence.